What's happening, everybody? We are live for our Double Down Speaking event, the third edition of our graduates getting to speak. We had a lot of people with some conflicting times, so we're going to have three killer performances this evening. We're going to have MJ Burst, Andrew Ang, and Donna Ivins bring the heat and show what they've been working on the whole time. Before we get started, though, I'm going to go ahead and bring up Henry. Henry was in class number 1, and he has become my co-host, my I don't want to say assistant, I would say peer. He is my partner in working with Double Down Speaking, making sure to get people in the class and also offering more sales guidance, as well as even some breath work and all fun stuff that he does. So if you could do me a favor, I see the numbers going up, which means I have to thank Casey and, of course, Waz for sharing this out on X. We had a great viewership last time. And of course, we're going to have a very good one as well this time. So like this video, share this video, do all the things with this video. I'm going to go ahead and do one thing before I bring Henry up. This is the flyer. I know Angela's on there, but Angela had a student, parent, teacher thing that went a little long. So it's just going to be these 4 people speaking this evening, and we're going to have a good time with it. So I'm pull that off the screen. Henry.
Hey,
welcome to the Thunderdome, my friend.
Yeah, good to be here, man. Class 3, ready to get it going. I'm just excited, man. I mean, who do we got on the card tonight? We got Anthony on the card. We got MJ on the card.
I just realized that was the old one. I was looking, I was like, why is Jay's face? And I realized, oh, because it's this guy, that one right there. So you got Donna, you've got MJ. MJ is going to be leading it off. Andrew will be second, and then Donna's going to bring it home. MJ gets 15 minutes, however, because MJ technically, not technically, she was the winner of the competition. Henry, do you want to explain how the class works?
Sure. So the class, what we really focus on in this class and the end result is a signature story. Because what we found out is in this new age of sales and presentation and business and coaching and consulting is that a lot of people are out there teaching stage tactics and how to sell from the stage. And they're giving you a lot of these frameworks and a lot of modalities and a lot of stuff that can take a long time to really even learn the lingo of these systems. But what Anthony and I have found out is that through these class, and especially what's showing in class number 4, is that whenever a speaker has their signature story, which means their signature story means it's true to them. It's a scorch mark in their life. It's something that was transformational. It wasn't a story that they just all of a sudden we said, hey, what's your life story? And they talked about it. It's something that's near and dear to their heart that they had to work through 8 weeks of transformational speaking to be able to have the heart and the gut to be able to, and the mindfulness to be able to share a very intimate, vulnerable part of them with us. So what you'll see with these speakers, that they found a core signature story that was able to relate with an audience, no matter what platform they're speaking on. And that's what we aim for over here.
Yeah, 100%. And this was a cool class. Like, this is a little bit different. That's why, as you can see on this guy, I named this one, Your Story is Your Business. And with MJ being the contest winner, she really had this great story. And you're going to hear, I'm assuming you're going to hear it. I'm letting them do whatever they want. I'm giving them total freedom, which scares me when it comes to Andrew, because I really said, Andrew, you just do whatever you want. I don't care. But MJ has a way of telling a fun story about how she got into real estate. And she's going to talk about that, as well as Andrew talking about how he was inspired to essentially do his business. And then Donna is a story about God and a relationship to overcoming cancer, and some really fun stuff, because she overcame it. So everybody has a unique window to their story. So what I've got scrolling on the bottom is, if you want to join us on a free speaking workshop, just go to doubledownspeaking.com. That's the Wednesday night. That's free. I then will go and do a hour call with you. We'll talk about some of the things that may be about your message, whatever. And it's not just for speakers. It's literally for people trying to get over whatever gunk is in their system. And I've come to the conclusion by realizing that you have a strong voice, that you can share your voice, that you can share your story, and that you can just talk, that level of confidence changes all aspects of their life. And before we start tonight's show, I want to let people know we do have something else coming up, a boot camp. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the bottom. Henry has worked very hard on the funnel, which will be probably constantly evolving in the next couple of days. I turned Henry into a virtual assistant. He started speaking in Thai, and it was really, really good. But I am going to go ahead and pull that up real quick. So I want to hear you go ahead and explain it, then I'll explain it. But we have a really cool opportunity for a free webinar as well. Go ahead, Henry.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the speaking boot camp is exactly what it is. It's a boot camp. It's meant to move fast and it's meant to get you results quick because we have our double down class. It's an 8-week course, sometimes 9, depending on scheduling or something like that. But what we found out is that there's a lot of speakers out there that want to work on their signature story that are already like growing. They already have a little bit, they've been on stage a couple times, but they're having a little bit of issues with converting. And this is where we come in because they're going to come to this boot camp and we're going to focus solely for about 1 day, just an intensive. We're going to give the whole course in 1 day. We're going to work through the frameworks and we're going to get your authentic signature story out there. So that like what Anthony's talking about, because this course is how speakers are going to go from confused or calculating or overthinking in their head. And through this course, they're able to have confidence. Because the most important thing is when you can look dead into a camera and you can have confidence, you know exactly what you're saying. And it doesn't even matter if you're prepared or not, because you're anchored through this transformative signature story. Because when you can get over your toughest story, then you can get over somewhat of it. You can get over your toughest fear. And when you're over your toughest fear and you face that camera, there is no camera that puts a fear in your face that what causes these people to have anxiety and to overthink what they're putting. These signature stories that Anthony and I work on in this rapid course that we're going to be putting on this Saturday, June the 14th, is going to get you to be confident in front of the camera. 1000%, because you will have said your most authentic story that's truthful to you, your biggest scorch mark. And once you get through the hardest part, every other story becomes with ease. And then when you're trying to figure out how to do a hook, a story, and an offer, it becomes a lot more confident when you got your identity through a transformative story, through your signature story. You really hone in on your identity, and then you're able to market through your identity. You're able to have sales through your identity. You're able to speak through your identity, and it also builds a brand for your company, for your business, whether you're out there building your business or you just want to be out there speaking. The confidence to have on the camera and just get your authentic message out is what happens on June 14th at the Speaking Bootcamp, hosted by Anthony and myself right here.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. So Henry and I decided to do something a little different. So the Friday night, I see. All right. Thank you. I see everybody's watching from. Go ahead and help the algorithm a little bit and go ahead and put in the comments where you are watching from. We're at about 20 viewers right now. Would love for it to go up. Carol is actually in our 8-week program right now. So we are actually going to be, I see a private channel. Hi. Okay. All right. So I love that Andrew and MJ are saying hi in the private chat. So what I did was I took the 8-week class that we're doing and I consolidated it. The only thing that it's missing is obviously the kind of community part of it and the extended help one-on-one from Henry and from me. Besides that, it's getting all of the actual education. So the Friday night webinar is informational. It is free. If you want to do Saturday, it is taking my paid 8-week course and putting it into 5 hours of education with a bonus from Henry talking about selling. It's not just for speakers. Trust me. If you have a business, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are whatever, and you have a brand, if you don't have a story to go with your brand, you don't have a brand. That's what it's building, and the confidence to start selling your brand. So that's what it is. It is it's 8 weeks turned into 5 hours on a Saturday. And we're doing it for about a third of the price of the 8-week course. And something that you won't see on the funnel, and then we'll end this, you go to speakingbootcamp.com, is and I'm going to say this now, I may not always say it, people won't always know, whatever you spend on it, if you do end up wanting to take a full 8-week course, I'm going to roll all that into the 8-week course. So just so you know. That's the way that it's going to be. We also have an opportunity for you to share your story the next week that you write up for the following week if you actually want to present in front of a live audience. That's it. That's what I got. That's where we're at. Any other final words, Henry, before we get into our first speaker?
No, I would say just what they're going to get on Saturday is the true course, and it's going to help them get confidence on screen. If they want hand holding, and they would like somebody to walk through them slowly through their transformative story, through their signature story, then we do it for a full 8 weeks. And that's where you get one-on-one coaching sessions with Anthony, with myself, office hours. If you like to learn, if you like to take your time through your story, then we can help you out with the 8-week class that doesn't have to be rushed. But we're talking to you people that want to get results quick. And that's what Saturday is for.
Exactly. What do you mean, you people? You people,
You
Henry? Really?
people, you lovely
okay.
people, you
Okay.
amazing, spectacular people that have been through so much in your life, and your voice is capped. And when you feel you want to say your truth, and you're like, this is where we come in. Yeah, the whole, like, people get stuck. You know what I'm saying? And they may feel like that. They feel like sometimes people get stuck and they feel like they're being choked. So if you want to take your own hands off your neck and you want to free your voice, then come on down, buddy. Come on.
Thank you for the Price is Right reference. All right. Again, that's speakingbootcamp.com. That's all you need. That's what we got. We are ready to get started. Henry, I'm going to pull you down. I'm going to introduce our first speaker in uno momento. Bye, Henry. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for speaker number 1. Again, we've only got 3 speakers tonight, so you don't have to stick around very long. People love a little bit of inspiration, motivation, perspiration, tutelage, education, all that good stuff. And that's what we're going to have out of our 3 speakers this evening. Our first speaker is going to give real practical, real world advice on something that I think, and I'll talk more after she's done with her, because I think she's got a really great niche on where she is in a marketplace. And she's also kind of a badass. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her up on stage. MJ Burst, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage. How you doing, MJ? Oh, you're muted. How are you muted?
There. No.
Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. I got you. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor. The floor is yours. The winner of this last class, the competition that we have at the end of the 8 weeks. The floor is yours, MJ. I'm looking forward to it. And best of luck. I'll see you in about 15 minutes.
All right. Sounds good. Hi, everyone. I'm MJ Burst, and I'd like to start with a confession. In 2012, I didn't know a single thing about real estate investing. I didn't know that interest rates were at record lows. I didn't know that the housing market had hit rock bottom. And I definitely didn't know that running into my ex-boyfriend at a dive bar in Milwaukee would change the trajectory of my life. But it did. Picture this. I walk into a bar, and there he is, 3 sheets to the wind, and I am sober enough to count all of them. Out of curiosity, maybe politeness, or maybe a little of both, I just asked him, "Hey, how are you doing?" His face lit up like he had won the lottery. "I just bought a duplex," he slurred, swaying with the kind of confidence that only a beer can buy. I raised my eyebrows, partially because I was skeptical and partially because I was a little bit impressed. And I told him, "Hey, that's awesome, but maybe we should revisit this conversation when you're not 1 drink away from serenading the bartender with a rendition of Sweet Caroline." And to my surprise, we actually did get together. A few days later, we met for coffee. There was no jukebox, there was no beer, just caffeine and curiosity. And he talked about the possibility of introducing me to his lender, his realtor, and started walking me through the numbers like he was unveiling some sort of secret weapon. To be honest, I was still on the fence until he said the magic words, "My tenant pays most of my mortgage, and now I can spend more money on beer." In Milwaukee, which, if you don't know, is the beer capital of the world, that argument held a lot more weight than I care to admit. So, for it, I decided that I was going to be a homeowner and a landlord all at once. And looking back, it's still the most profitable conversation I've had with somebody who was wearing a Pabst Blue Ribbon hoodie. At the time, I was more or less stumbling through my 20s. I had a business degree from UW Milwaukee, and at some point during my college career, I had picked up a copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Sure, later I'd learned that some of the points in the book may have been fabricated, but the part about passive income, that stuck with me. I didn't just want a paycheck. I knew I wanted freedom, ownership, a future that I could build on. But I honestly had no idea where to start. And that's where my ex's dream team came in. The lender, a machine. She was organized. She was on top of everything. She was ready to fight for me to get approval for a mortgage. And then my realtor, he had a daughter who was about my age, and he gave me this fatherly advice that I came to love throughout the process. MJ, this property is way too much work for someone who's just starting out in real estate. MJ, I know you really like this property, but it's way over your budget. MJ, that smell? Cockroach spray. We've got to go. Thinking back, it was quite the adventure. It was both thrilling and exhausting. In total, we looked at about 17 properties. Around number 12 or 13, I fell in love with what I was sure was the one. It checked all the boxes, and it was right across the street from one of my favorite neighborhood restaurants. I had a good feeling about it, so I made an offer. There were a few rounds of back and forth with the sellers, but ultimately, we couldn't agree on a price. And reluctantly, I let it go. Now imagine my rage when a few months later, I found out it sold for the exact price that I had offered. But I digress. Eventually, I was the one who found my future duplex. While driving down a quiet side street, I saw a for sale sign in the yard, pulled over, texted my realtor, and said, "This is it." It had everything I wanted, minus a garage. But at that point, and after looking at 17 properties, I was willing to let that slide. It still had a parking spot in back. We made the offer. The seller agreed to fix the FHA required repairs, and I was on my way to closing to become that homeowner and landlord that I had set out to be. I remember the exact moment I got my keys. It felt surreal. Was this house really mine? Someone actually let me buy a house? I was driving to the property, basking in that new homeowner glow and feeling on top of the world. I was proud. I was excited. And I was completely unprepared for the phone call that I received next. MJ? Yeah. Did you hear about Eric? My heart sank. I knew what those words meant. And at the end of the call, I found out that a dear friend of mine had just passed away. Suddenly, this huge milestone collided with an even bigger heartbreak. The emotional whiplash was devastating. One of the highest highs, immediately followed by one of the lowest blows. But in that moment, something inside me shifted. Life is fragile, it's unpredictable, and it's short. And if you want to do something, anything, start now. Since then, I've spent over a decade building a portfolio, making mistakes, learning lessons, and eventually helping others do the same. That journey led me to create my brand, Rockstar Burst, where I help everyday people become everyday rock stars in their finances and in their lives. And inside of Rockstar Burst, I created a system. I now teach how to rock, R-O-C-K, an acronym for how to rock your real estate. Because let's face it, every rock star needs a solid foundation. Let's break it down. Before we dive into this section, I really encourage you to take notes. Seriously, the act of handwriting notes, yes, even if your notes are messy, actually activates parts of your brain that's associated with comprehension, retention, and recall. Studies show that by taking notes with your hands, actually encode the information more deeply than just by listening or typing. So grab a pen, grab a napkin if you have to, but write it down. What you capture, you keep. All right, and here we go. The R. R is for real numbers, because if numbers don't work, nothing in real estate works. In this chapter, we cover the basics, things like personal finance, how to build a budget, how to manage your debt, how to kickstart saving for that down payment. We'll talk about financial planning, creating a long-term vision that aligns with your goals, and finding a financial planner that won't make you feel dumb for asking questions. We also have to calculate cash flow, learn the different types of cash flow. Yes, there's more than one. And figure out which model is going to fit your strategy and your lifestyle. We'll cover home equity, understand what home equity actually means, and how to use it as a secret weapon in building wealth. At the end of this chapter, you'll understand that spreadsheets are way better than surprises. Always for operators. These are your people. You may own the property, but your people are the ones that make it work. Real estate is a team sport, and you want to build your roster wisely. First things first, your loan officer. This person is your money gatekeeper. Find one who can explain lending without making your eyes glaze over. Next, you're going to need a rock star realtor. I'm not talking about your cousin's best friend who just got licensed. You're going to want someone who knows the market and who understands investors. An insurance agent, someone who knows the difference between a homeowner's policy and a landlord policy, because there is a difference, and not having the right coverage can cost you thousands. Ask me how I know sometime. Contractors, reliable, skilled, and ideally not ghosting you after demo day. These are the boots on the ground that can literally make or break your budget. Your tenants, they're part of your operation, whether you like them or not. So learn to screen well, communicate clearly, and set expectations early. And you're obviously going to need an accountant. Tracking your expenses on pins and using Venmo screenshots isn't going to cut it. You're going to want an attorney for leases, evictions, God forbid, and anything else that might require legal protection. Finally, a mentor, someone who's been there, done that, and can help you avoid rookie mistakes without charging you millions of dollars for a weekend workshop. Your network is your net worth, and in real estate, it's your safety net too. C is for creative strategy. There's more than one way to build wealth in real estate, and the beauty is you get to choose your own adventure. I started off house hacking. I lived in one unit, I rented out the others. It's low risk, it's high leverage, and it's perfect for a first-time investor who wants a front row seat to both learning how to own a house and being a landlord. We talk about buy and hold. It's classic. You buy a property, you rent it out, you build wealth slowly over time, get some appreciation, and let that do the heavy lifting for you. The BRRRR method. Some of you who are familiar with real estate might have heard of this before. It stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. It's great for those people who are looking how to scale quickly and aren't afraid of a little elbow grease and maybe some drywall dust in your coffee once in a while. Flipping, the official buy low, sell high motto of real estate. Yeah, it's risky. I don't recommend it for a first-time investor. But over time, if it's done right, it's fast cash. And it's HGT level glory without the camera crew, unless you want to record it on TikTok while you're making it happen. And then there's things like syndications, options, and lots of other strategies that you can make work for you. They're not one size fits all. They're one smart decision at a time. The K is for keys to knowledge. This is where the knowing turns into doing, because all the ideas in the world don't matter if you won't take any action on them. So what kind of knowledge do we need to have? Well, you need to have a calculator. I'm not just talking about the one on your phone. I want calculators that help you understand your cash flow and your mortgage and your ROI and your rehab costs. If it can be calculated, it should be calculated. You're going to want to trust the numbers, not your gut. There's so much software. Software is also an excellent tool to have in your tool belt. From analyzing properties, to screening your tenants, to managing projects, and even doing your accounting legwork. Tech is a time-saving sidekick. There's books and courses. There's so many of them. There's so many different people that you can keep learning from. Dog-ear the good stuff, highlight those books, and keep leveling up. Mindset, that's another thing you're going to need to master if you're going to be a real estate investor. Fear and doubt will creep in. Expect it. But clarity, confidence, consistency, that's really where the magic happens. And of course, you can't be a good real estate investor without templates and checklists. Don't reinvent the wheel. Use tools that work. Find lease templates. Find repair request forms. Find walkthrough checklists. All of this stuff already exists. You don't need to make your own. Find people who are doing it and already crushing at the real estate game. Scripts and talking points. Know what to say to people and lenders, and sound educated when you're talking real estate. And finally, community. Never underestimate the power of being in the right room. And like I said, knowledge but action is just potential. Let's turn it into power. So why do I do this? Look, I love the big names. I've learned from a lot of awesome people over the years. Grant Cardone, Brandon Turner, and David Green from Bigger Pockets, Ken McElroy, Barbara Corcoran, and of course, Robert Kiyosaki. They're awesome people to learn real estate from. But when they're talking about $100 million deals and you've barely got $100 in your bank account, it's hard to see yourself in their shoes. I'm not saying don't aspire to be one of the big guys. I'm all for dreaming big. But what I'm saying is start where you are. And that's where I come in. I'm for the people who are just getting started, who need the right tools, who need the right mindset and the right support system to make their first move, not their 50th. I want to help you build your confidence, protect your time, assemble a trusted team, and take strategic baby steps that move you forward. I don't want you getting in over your head. Been there, done that. So what I offer is the sweet spot. And that's where the magic happens. And that's why I do what I do. If you're ready to take your first step or your next smart one, I'd love to help. That's why I created this course, How to Rock Your Real Estate. It will walk you through every step of the ROCK program that I just highlighted. And the system will provide you with clarity, strategy, and ongoing support. By the end of it, you'll have the confidence, tools, and game plan to buy your first property, and I'll be there to help you every step of the way. So if you're done dreaming about it, let's make it real. Come find me. Let's rock some real estate together.
Great job, MJ. Crushed it. I'm going to go ahead and bring Henry up in just a second. First off, where's the best? I'm going to go ahead and put our things up. Where's the best place people can find you again? What was that link?
You can find me on Instagram. It is at rockstarburst, and that's BERST. And that is I'm taking a little social media hiatus, but you can DM me, you can follow me, and I will. I'll get back to you. I'd be happy to chat real estate with you.
So just the what you have down there, Rockstar Burst.
Yep.
Perfect. What I like about when we started doing the class, we talked about what you do, is there's so many different courses and classes out there for people. And unfortunately, they're usually done by the big boys. They're done by the ones that are doing millions to tens of millions of dollars a year, if not more than that. And it's just a hard entry point for people that are just looking to get in the business. Like I recently, I'm in my head, I'm like, I need to just buy a duplex. I need to buy a duplex. If I were to go and take Grant Cardone's course, I'm going to be so in over my head and wasting time on stuff that just doesn't fit me. And I know they try to give that education to the everyday investor, but I think you've got a great niche and you have a great personality to where you can really bring people in that are just at that starting level. It's a perfect place to be. And someday you can graduate from that, but I think you articulate it very well. I think you got a very funny story. So I think that's great. I'm going to bring Henry up real quick, but ladies and gents, go ahead and we got it reshared on the Twitter. So if you guys can do me a favor, we just jumped up a little bit on people. Make sure you're sharing this video. And if you could do me a favor, put in the comments where you are watching from. Henry, come on up.
Hey, here we go. So I love to talk, and I remember when you were in the final event, MJ, when we were in the competition and you were giving your talk. And one of the things that I took away from your talk was I was inspired. I was inspired in the choices that you made to really bank on real estate and to grow and to really expand yourself, because it's something that I thought of for a long time as well. You know, I dipped my toes in the water, but the issue that I had was I didn't have a team or somebody right there having my support. And I remember in your talk, you pointed that out and it lit up some things for me and it led me down the path. But the question that I got for you is, because of your inspiration, is that you had a moment in your story when people told you couldn't do it, when you were looking around for the duplex, when you were driving down the streets and stuff like that. And you're going through this day in and day out for a certain period of time, people telling you couldn't do it. What did you tell yourself so that you could get it done? Like, what was your mindset in there?
I think it was a lot of dumb luck. I always have sort of approached life in this lens that of course I can do it. I'll figure it out. And for better or worse, for the most part, I usually have. So even when people were telling me, I remember there was, because I was 26, I don't remember, 26 or 27 when I bought my first place. And a lot of my friends were still out in the bars, like they were out partying. And when I was like, hey, I'm looking at buying a house, they were like, why? Like that sounds like a lot of responsibility. Yeah, but it's like the next logical step in adulthood, isn't it? That's what you do. You graduate, then you buy a house, and you get a job, check it off the list. So even though there were some naysayers, one, I think it helped having the realtor that I did. He was very level-headed. He was very grounded. He never led me astray throughout the process. He was very pragmatic. Like he told me, like, you can't afford this house, or you could afford this house, but you're not going to be able to live off of anything but ramen noodles for the next 10 years. So that was helpful. It really was having the right person guiding me through the process, and someone who had my best interest in mind. Helped me kind of like push the naysayers to the side.
That's awesome. And I'm curious, where are your friends at now? The ones from when you were in your mid-20s, where are those guys at now?
So still in the bars, sadly.
They're trapped. That's right on. See, you made that brave step, and there's a lot of courage in that. So I just want to acknowledge you for your courage and your brave for doing something that you didn't know could be done, but you just didn't want to do what everybody else was doing. So very brave, and thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Hey, it's funny. MJ and I are both from lived in Milwaukee for a long period of time. She lives there now. She actually was just at an event a block from my old house last night. So she don't think that she doesn't go to bars anymore, because she was at the rave last night. MJ, the one thing I want to ask, we got 3 people from this last class, and each class is limited to 8. Tell us a little bit about your experience going through the Double Down Speaking course, the 8-week course. Like, how did it start, and kind of how did it end? What did you realize throughout the process?
Yeah, I had no expectations. I didn't really know what to expect. But I knew that I wanted to work on public speaking. I knew that I really wanted to I've had this idea sort of rattling around in my brain for a long time. I've coached a few things on the side and taught some people, but really being able to sort of hone in my messaging and have a product that when I was done with the course, I would be comfortable sharing with other people. So this process, I loved it. The class that I was in, there was some really great personalities. I felt that everybody had a different level of professionalism. Everybody's story was really different, which was awesome, because you got to sort of learn something new from every person, but it was still applicable, I think, in the course. And I also knew that same thing like with what I do now and what I needed along the way. Sometimes you need other people to, 1, help you find your blind spots, and 2, to sort of push you to that next level. So for me, this was something that I knew would help me get to that next level and kind of overcome these hurdles of, I know I need to make some content for this, and I really know that I need to work on my messaging and really package it all together. And this course made me do that. So it was very helpful in that regard.
Awesome. And I put in the link down there, doubledownspeaking.com, if you want to come to a free Wednesday workshop, which is how I knew MJ from the past. She came to a Wednesday night workshop. We do random things each week. For the most part, though, I give people a quote. They take the quote, they make it their own. I call it Toastmasters on steroids. And what was funny about MJ's is I gave her a quote. This is in the very beginning of doing these classes, that it turns out is like her go-to quote in life, or what have you, or it was the quote that she was dealing with. So we did our one-on-one call. She's like, you have no idea what that quote meant to me. And I was like, I feel like eventually she's going to take the class, and I hope it was helpful. And part of also taking the full class is you and everybody that does it has a year of open office hours, obviously, to come in and continue to work on your business, even if it's not about being on stage. That's part of it as well. So without further ado, do you have any other things you want to say before you leave the stage this evening?
If you're on the fence, do it. You will definitely learn something. You will be able to just polish up some of your speaking skills, and you'll be able to have something that you're proud of at the end of the 8 weeks. I really am glad that I took this course, and I did not expect to win. So that was like a highlight. I was like, oh, that's awesome. But even if you don't win it, you'll learn a lot. You'll connect with some really cool people. So I felt like I left with a new group of friends. We were done. Yeah, thank you.
I'll tell you, the 3 people that we have going tonight were actually, I believe, from a score perspective, all the top 3. It was right there. So you're getting the 3 best. If you weren't able to make tonight, I'm not talking poorly about you, but these were 3 of the top this week, this class. So thank you very much, MJ. I appreciate you, and I will catch you soon. Catch you later.
Thank you.
All right. Henry, we just hit triple digits. So we got 100 people watching. Thank you to Waz and Casey for sharing this out there. We got Jay watching, Jennifer Castillo from Colorado, Sarah. Thank you. If everybody, Kim Bain, who is in class number 2, I know we got Felicia, who's in this class. Okay. Anyways, they're all doing their additions. So everybody that does it, see, it's like a community. They enjoy sticking around. So without further ado, which is the second time I've said that, we're going to go to our next speaker. Do you got any words before I move on, Henry?
No, I do not. Pay attention, people. Pay attention. Get a note from everybody. Write down one note that you get from every speaker, because every speaker's got a takeaway. Take something away with you.
Exactly.
That's it.
All right. We're going to talk. Our next speaker, we're going to keep around at the end a little bit before we talk with Andrew, because Andrew, Henry, and I all met actually at the exact same time. But we'll get into that after Andrew gives his speech. I'm excited to hear it. So I'm going to bring him up on stage right now. Andrew, how's it going, buddy? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm going to get all this crap out of the way on the bottom, all these little scrolling things. And I'm excited to have you speak. You're a healer. You're a motivational speaker, a framework expert. I'm excited to see what you got. So without further ado, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. How's everybody doing today? Oh, we're doing great. It's amazing. Yes. So happy to see you all. My name is Andrew Eng. My background is in acupuncture, massage therapy, and energy healing. That's where I started before I took that knowledge and brought it into the realm of online coaching. I was trying to figure out, why is it that people can come in and get a treatment, feel amazing, and then when they come back the next week, the pain persists? So I started thinking, what could be happening? If it's not the treatment, it must be something that's happening outside of the treatment room. I did a little further investigation and realized that it was our habits outside of the treatment room that were causing the problem in the first place and causing it to come back. One example is, I was treating somebody for lower back pain. He'd get up off of the table and say, my back doesn't hurt anymore. It's fantastic. Awesome. And next time I asked him, why was the pain coming back? He said, well, after our last treatment, I felt great, but then I went to the gym and then deadlifted 200 pounds and then my back hurt again. Well, maybe that's why your back hurts again. So this was a common problem in holistic medicine. They call it patient compliance. I don't like that term because it assumes that all of the ownership is on the patient to do everything on their own. But what about us as practitioners to be able to provide those resources so that our patients can thrive outside of the treatment room? It's one thing to give a word of advice. It's another to give a pamphlet or a brochure, but I throw those things away. I look at it, cool, fantastic. Then I started looking into the realm of online coaching and personal development. That's how I met Anthony. That's how I met Henry, and why I'm here today. Because I saw that in this realm, it was all about ownership and accountability. So if myself as a practitioner wants to help other people, what can I do? Well, in this realm, they have courses. They have group coaching. They have one-on-one coaching, events where you could speak to many people at once, which is in stark contrast to speaking to one person at a time as they come in to the treatment room. So what would I speak about if it's time to create courses and coaching for others, especially if most of what I do as a hands-on healer is hands-on? How can that translate to the virtual world? Well, I thought back to the beginning. When I was 18 years old, I was chronically injured in every joint in my body. I was crazy back then. I played competitive sports. I did parkour. I was even training to be a Hollywood stuntman. at one point. And I made my way to a stunt facility called 8711 Action Design. This is the same facility that did the John Wick movies, Fast and the Furious, 300, and even the Matrix trilogy. I had my shot at the big leagues. One day, I was training on the Olympic trampoline that they had, but they tucked it in the corner right next to these two concrete walls. And I wasn't quite used to the extra bounce that you get on those things. So I was practicing my backflips for air awareness, so I know what's going on. I had done a million before, but on this particular one, I over-rotated, bounced back, and hit my head on the concrete wall, giving myself a concussion. The only thing is, I didn't realize that I had given myself a concussion. So, like any athlete, I just kept going. I trained for the next month doing stunt falls, practicing flips, fight scenes where you're whipping your head back and forth. And eventually it got to a point where if I were to even turn my head to the left or to the right, like this, that alone would create nausea and dizziness to the point where I had to go up to the owner and say, "Sir, I'm sorry, but I simply cannot go on. I can't do stunts for you, let alone even turn my own damn head." So that's when I made that pivotal decision that I have to focus on my health. And you may have come across this in your own life. When you realize you can't keep putting it off to the side, it has to become a priority. That should becomes a must. Or if you're a practitioner, you come to the point where your books are full and you're realizing you're getting burnt out because your labor is tied to the amount of money that you can make. And that's when I made the pivotal decision that I got to make an online practice. So in merging these two stories together, building a full acupuncture, massage therapy, energy healing practice, and then realizing that I have to focus on the health, this is when I've merged the two worlds together and started creating these courses and started creating these coaching programs. And then I realized, wait a second, there are other practitioners out there just like me who need this kind of help, who are feeling burnt out, but don't know what to do because it's a whole other realm. It's one side of the brain to learn about holistic medicine, and it's another to learn about the structures and organization behind business, coaching, and speaking. And so this is what I do now is help other people, other holistic practitioners create their online coaching ecosystems so that you can have global reach, so that you can provide greater resources to your patients, and so that you can really live the life of time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom, which is what you truly desire. I know it's what I desire. I know that's what I want to help put out into the world, is marrying these two worlds of holistic medicine and personal development. I realized I didn't finish that story about what I did when I made that decision to focus on my health. And that's when I delved into self-care, to taking care of my body, foam rolling, using the massage ball, stretching. But that style was taking so long to just do it by trial and error. But through that, eventually I was able to heal my whole body from all those injuries, doing it through trial of error, taking my time until I healed my body. I took that body and then learned and then trained to become a professional dancer, having shown that the self-care can be used at a high level of physical performance. And when I decided to leave dancing is when I got into massage therapy to see how can I help other people with this knowledge that I learned. And when I decided to leave massage therapy because that was tiring, then I went into acupuncture. And then I realized that there's a greater opportunity to help people through coaching and speaking. And that led me to meeting this group. I was in that initial group with Anthony at the Great American Speak Off where we met. And I remember he went up and I realized, damn, this guy's good. This guy's pretty good. So when we had to do our ratings for who our favorite speaker was, I put Anthony down as my favorite speaker. I thought he did great. And we were kind of doing our groups and making our rounds. But on the very last night, after everything was over, we finally got a chance to connect. I went and said, what's up? We said hi at the bar, and we had a conversation, and we realized that we wanted to stay connected. And in the group chat from that speaking event, I just put out, hey, does anybody want to start a mastermind where we could work on these things together? And lo and behold, to my surprise, by putting myself out there, by putting out the idea and taking action, a bunch of people decided that they wanted to join. I thought, hey, damn, I need help with this. So I asked Anthony, do you want to help me run this mastermind together? And thankfully, he said yes. I was providing the space, the encouragement to get people on, but it was Anthony who was teaching us about the speaking. And the main thing that I learned from Anthony was that I like to be very expressive and theatrical, but he taught me how to tone it down a little bit, be a little bit more grounded and authentic. And this is the results of that. Being able to speak on camera with that confidence, like what Henry was saying. Truth be told, I have not prepared a single thing that I've said today, but I can have the confidence to stand here and speak and freestyle because of the space that these two men have provided. Because speaking and being able to step out of one's comfort zone to make that change, to hopefully inspire lives, to call people out on their own bullshit so that they can step forward towards their dreams, that's what we're really doing today. That's what I've done thanks to this program. And I'm so excited to see anybody who's interested come and join this community and this ecosystem of powerful motivational speakers. Thank you.
Yeah, buddy. That was good. That was great. It's funny. I was watching your ups and downs, and it's so one of the things that we talked about, Andrew and I talked about, let me go ahead and put up the banner on the bottom with our names. But one of the things that we talked about was the fact that there has to be, it's like Pollock or some of the famous painters. They do stuff that's completely abstract, Picasso, but at the same time, they have the ability of toning it down and focusing right in the middle, and then having the ability to go theatrical, which is really funny because with Andrew, when we started talking, I was like, can you tone it down a little? And then by the end of it, I was like, you know what? I like when you actually are more theatrical, but it's good to know that you have both of the tools in your tool belt, the ability to do both of those things. Andrew, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Heal with Andrew.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add that to your headline. So Heal with Andrew. And then do you have the one thing that Andrew is phenomenal with? So Heal with Andrew. The one thing you're phenomenal with is frameworks. That's what you've really kind of found a way to start building. You build frameworks, you work with other people. Is there a way to, besides just messaging you on Instagram, is there a funnel or anything you have right now that you're sending people through to let people check out what you do?
Yeah, it's healwithandrew.com.
So just add the .com. That's all you need right there.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Excellent. All right, I'm going to bring up Henry real quick. Henry, hey there, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, the trio's all here, huh?
This is kind of the OG trio of all of this. So, and do you have any, what'd you think? Do you got anything to say to Andrew?
Yeah, dude, that was a sharp talk, man. Or speech, winging it, confidence. You know, that was a great experience of your authentic way to tell a story, man. And you know, the thing that stands out to me the most is how it was informative. You gave me some information on patient compliance and like how that's a big deal. You know, I think that made a lot of sense to me. And you know, you were very, very not performance or theatrical like we used to talk about before, but like you were in a flow, dude. Like you do this thing with your hands, and it's like when I initially met you and you're talking about dancing and how you were on ABDC, and like I was a big fanboy when I met you. I was like, what? That was like one of my favorite shows, you know. But now I notice when you talk, you have like this flow, man. Like the dancing still in you when you're talking, and that rhythm and that confidence when you show up on screen and you're able to focus on the camera and have your thoughts. You know, that's exactly what we're talking about in this course. You know, it's only fair that the three amigos come up here and you are a shining, you know, example of exactly what we all wanted from the beginning. Is we wanted people to be able to tell their stories in a powerful way, man. So yeah, the dancing, the hands-on, and like just the way that winging it isn't really winging it when you have your identity and you're confident and you put in the work. And that shines with you, brother. Like You are growing so exponentially every time I see you. I am surprised every time that I see you by the growth that you've done. And I'm always wondered by what framework you built to be able to do that behind the scenes, man. I'm just blown away, man. And it comes full circle from that weekend that we had, just three bros just wanting to do better in the world. And we shared our authentic signature story with each other. And we found we wanted to do this. I mean, look, me and Andrew, we kind of even have the same haircut, bro. I mean,
I see what it is. The thick hair people that don't need the hair transplant are going to just brag right now. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, but no, not to shine a light on anybody else's hair or nothing like that, because you are the brain. You're the one that coaches this stuff, man. You're the one that allows our pretty flowing hair to be able to shine and perform on stage, when you're teaching these folks, man. And I think something that we all do together is we've seen how well we're able to help others. And I'm just glad that Andrew is out there helping people with Heal with Andrew and everything like that, man. And I'm just glad to see you keep growing, brother. It's thank you. I'm grateful.
Thanks, Henry.
And yeah, that was the best I've ever seen you speak, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have a prep. So this is the interesting thing. This last week I was a part of this container and we're having this discussion and they hate the phrase signature talk. And that's kind of where we met. It was a place where everybody's trying to come up with a signature talk, but it's more of a phrasing issue. I firmly believe in a signature story. And even though you did not prepare what you just did, Andrew, you still had your signature story in the beginning. So it's not that it needs to be prepared. You know that when you're going to go in front of an audience, you're literally just going to rip off this, not rip it off from somebody else, but just rip out this 3 to 5 minutes that is who you are, lets people know who you are, and then integrate that into whatever you want to talk about. And that's kind of what we build. On top of transforming as an individual in the 8-week course, you're actually just building that key identifier that makes you you. And you did it there, even though it wasn't fully planned. And then after that, you got to insert whatever you wanted to. And I think you did awesome. So
yeah,
thanks for letting me be a part of the mastermind. And what people don't realize that I've mentioned before is Andrew is the person, if you've watched any of the stuff that I do, Andrew is the person that really invited me to that group. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me a few weeks after, where people started on the side going, hey, do you do one-on-one coaching? And these are some of the top 100 and something speakers in the country that were in this contest, 100 and something finalists, contestants, semifinalists. And they were asking me for help. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm actually pretty good at helping people craft their voice and craft their story, which is how I am where I am right now today. It's because Andrew had me jump on that mastermind group. So thank you, Andrew. And thank you for being a part of the class. Do you have any final words for anybody?
Yeah, to just join the class, and that these guys are really going to help guide you in the right direction, and to sometimes just step out on a limb and wing it, to just trust in your training, to trust in the work that you've put into it, and maybe you'll find that you're better at freestyling than having a prepared speech.
And yeah, you guys can just go, if you don't want to, you don't need to spend any money, just go to a free class, doubledownspeaking.com. The link is scrolling on the bottom. It's every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Central Time. Andrew, thank you very much, buddy. I'll catch you later. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, Henry, ready for our final speaker of the evening?
I don't know, man, because I know who's coming and I know what she's going to hit us with. So like,
don't make her any more nervous than she is. I see her breathing in the back, right? See her take a deep breath. MJ's relaxing. She's laughing at the fact that she doesn't have to do it anymore. Donna Ivins is going to be fantastic. This one I'm very excited about. And her and I we'll talk at the end kind of about how we found each other and all that good stuff. But real quick, free speaking workshop, doubledownspeaking.com, coming up on Friday, the 13th of June. Speaking boot camp. I'm doing a free webinar. That's not the workshop. It's not interactive, but it's great information. This is very similar to what I gave a group of ladies for network marketing. Well, there's some guys on there and network marketing, but I'm taking out the network marketing and just talking about finding your voice and that your story is your superpower. That leads into, if you want to join us for Saturday, that's a full speaking boot camp, the 8-week course that all of these people that you're watching now took. That is being smushed into 5 hours without all of the actual exercises, but all of the same content. Simple as that. We're at 150 people. Can you guys do me a favor and put in the comments where you're watching from? I see Carolyn, who is in my first. I love that people keep coming back from all the other classes. It's awesome.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
all right, Henry, I'm going to drop you off. See you later. Bye. I'll see you in a minute. Final speaker of the evening coming up. The one, just breathe. I see you, Donna. I see that you're taking these deep breaths. Pastor Donna is coming up. We're going to introduce her to the stage. Donna, I'm going to have you come up. How you doing, Donna?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Farrah Fawcett in the building. Flowing hair. Beautiful. Love it. All right, we're going to have you go. I'm very excited to hear you speak. You were a close second place behind MJ. It was right there. She was on a retreat, vacation. I don't know what she was doing. She propped up the camera and just crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. She's also an absolutely phenomenal individual as well. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the stage. Donna, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Floor is yours.
Okay. Hi. So I want to share the morning after being diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. I wake up, I sit on the side of the bed, and my mind is a whirlwind of thoughts. And I'm just beside myself. I'm thinking, twice, stage 3? How can this be? I finally have a wonderful life. I have a great husband after a couple of divorces. We have a wonderful home. Our kids are great. Like everything is perfect. And stage 3, I start having this conversation with God, and I'm just in disbelief. And I'm asking him, why, how? And then all of a sudden, he gives me Psalms 103. And Psalms 103 is all about mercy and grace. And I have this peace that comes over me. And I realize in this moment that this is a win-win situation for me. If I stay here on earth, I get to continue to reap all the rewards of my earthly blessings, my wonderful husband and home and children and grandchildren. But if he calls me home, that's what I've lived this life for, is all the promises that he tells us through his word. No more pain, no more suffering, no more sorrow, no more tears. This is literally a win-win situation. And I know without a doubt, I have to call in my prayer warriors for healing. And healing doesn't always mean getting better and staying here. Sometimes we receive healing through death. And that's a very hard thing to comprehend. And it's not something you can receive in the flesh. It's something you can only receive when you have total peace with Jesus and you know without a shadow of a doubt that you're his and he's with you. Suddenly, my husband, Randy, he wakes up, he sees me sitting on the side of the bed, and he asked me, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I've never been better. Now, the day before, I was under anesthesia, so he's like, are you sure you're okay? I'm like, yes. I said, I just had this conversation with God, and he's told me this is a win-win. Whether I stay or whether he calls me home, this is a win-win. But the most important thing that I need right now, that I need from you, you have to promise me that no matter what, you will continue to serve the Lord, because I need you as much on the other side as I need you here now. And of course, we embrace each other, we cry, and he promises me, yes, I will continue to serve the Lord and to witness for him and to love him with all my heart. And I'm overjoyed knowing that the most important person is going to be with me in eternity. And we make our plan. We're going to go forward. We're going to go through all the tests that I need to continue and get my Medi poured in for chemo treatments and all of these great things. And we're meeting with the doctors, and I get to the radiation doctor. He's the last doctor on the list before I start my treatments. And at the end of the consultation, he asked me, he said, is there anything that you have any questions, anything I can help you with? And I said, I have one question. He said, okay. I said, can you make me a promise? He said, I'm not sure. He said, what is it? And I said, can you promise me when you think of me that you'll pray for me? When you see my name on a chart, that you'll pray for me? And he told me, he said, I don't pray like I probably should, but I can do that. I can pray for you. So we go on, we leave the appointment, we take some time, and we're going through all these tests, all these chemo treatments, and here we are just serving. We're in the ministry. We're serving homeless people. We're serving the biker community. We have a motorcycle ministry. So we're doing midpoints in the midsummer, 90 degrees weather, serving bikers water to keep them cool. And I'm not in the best of shape, but God gave me the strength I needed to get through each day. And the days that I didn't have the strength to even take a bite of food, my wonderful husband would bring something to me and beg me, just take one bite, just one bite. You don't have to eat it all. So he did his part to keep me healthy, and I did my part as much as I could. And everyone that we were doing life with kind of disappeared on us, and it was just us. And I can remember being on the couch and weak and frail, and this lady, Jan, who we were going to Bible study with, she comes to the house and she says, can I sit with you? And I told her, I said, I don't think I'll be much company. I have no energy. I just kind of fall asleep. And she said, that's okay. I would like to just sit with you and pray over you. And if you're asleep when I'm ready to leave, I'll just leave. And it was amazing to have someone like that in my life at that time. She would just come, sit, pray, and read her Bible. And then September, 3 months later, I finished my chemo, I finished my radiation. I go to the surgeon to get my final biopsy. And in the recovery room, he comes to my bed and he said, I removed it. I'm like, you removed it? He said, it went from the size of your thumb to the size of a pea. So I just cut it out. I removed it. Right now, you're 100% cancer-free. Thank you, Jesus. Today, 13 years later, I am still 100% cancer-free. To all the wonderful doctors who did their part, and most important, Jesus himself, I am 100% cancer-free. And it all started with my faith. It all started with believing. So here we are, several months later after all of this, right? Like 6 months later, Randy and I were sitting in the dining room having dinner, and the home phone rings. So I get up, I answered the phone, and this man asked for Donna Ivins, very professional sounding. And I'm like, may I ask who's calling? And he tells me who he is. Immediately, I know he's my radiation doctor. And I'm asking him, how are you? And he's like, no, how are you? And I told him, I said, thank you to your talents, your gifts that God has given you, and the power of prayer. I am healed from cancer. And I was shocked that he's calling me. And I said, well, why would you call me? And he said, you asked me for a favor, a promise. You asked if I would pray for you. And I was curious what your outcome was. And I said, you don't know? And he said, as a radiation doctor, we don't always get to see the final outcome. A lot of times our treatments are in the middle, so we never know the final results of our patients. But you asked me for a favor, a promise, and I was curious, so I thought I would call. And I was shocked, thrilled, and we finished our conversation. And still to this day, I wonder if I was able to plant a seed by asking him to pray for me. And I like to believe that that drew him closer to God, that maybe it built a stronger relationship when he was able to see how God healed me through his talents in prayer. And one of the other things I took away from that is God never hurt. He never wastes a hurt, never. The things that we can't understand that we go through here on earth, we may not know exactly how it works out, what the big plan is, but Jesus knew before we even existed. God knew he had a plan for us. Jeremiah 29:11 tells us, God declares he has a plan for us, not to harm us, but to prosper us, to give us a hope and a future. So today, I have to say, if you don't know Jesus, give him a chance. Invite him in, welcome him in today with a sincere heart, and let him show you how to live life to the fullest. We can't wait until we get perfect to come to him, because then we wouldn't need him. But if we bring all of our garbage to him, to the foot of the cross, and we bear our sins right there and ask for forgiveness, he without a doubt will forgive us of our sins, and we will have the promise of eternity with him. So today I ask, if you don't know him, invite him in. Give him a chance. This is my story, and this is what God's done for me. I hope you give him the opportunity to show you his mercy, his grace, and his unconditional love. Give him a chance today.
Great job, Donna. I loved it. I love it. So it's funny. We talk about the business side of speaking, and we talk about the speaking side of speaking, and your call to action is simply an altar call. That's what you're doing when you do this, which is great. You are essentially a speaker for God. And there's some really cool stuff that it reminds me full circle. The first person that jumped into my classes really was Carolyn and Jay. And I remember when Jay and I had our first meeting, and it was this idea of like finding a way to find somebody's light and help them share that light with the world. Because there's the story that I didn't have stage 3 cancer. I didn't have this undeniable faith like you had, Donna. Like I didn't have that. And the fact that I can help you create your voice in order to share that with the world and make impact on people, that I'm doing what God had me do. That was the purpose he had for my life. I can evangelize, but how better to do it than to put my light also through you. So thank you very much, Donna. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you.
Before I
ahead.
bring Henry back up, sorry, I was going to say, before I bring Henry back up, go ahead and kind of explain the process you got to be like, why am I taking this class?
Yes. So that's the craziest part, because I found you on LinkedIn a year before the first call. And I thought it was really bold how you had a daily truth. So I started following you. And then all of a sudden you're advertising the speaking class. And I'm thinking, oh, we have a regional sales meeting coming up with a lot of upper management. Maybe if I take this class, it'll help me with work. And then I took the first free class on Wednesday, and I'm thinking, I don't know. So then we had our one-on-one, and that's when the light bulb came on. It was like the evangelist in me is being called to speak.
And I think we realized it was a lot more than we at that point, not just with you realizing it. It was the moment that was kind of the transition for me, is when I realized that this whole thing is a lot more. This class, what I do, what even Wednesday nights, it's a lot more than speaking. It's a whole. I mean, it's a lot more than that. Donna was one of the few. There's a lot. There was definitely some tears on our one-on-one call. We get to that point. But it's a lot more than just getting ready and prepared to be on stage to speak. It is something different. It has grown into something different. And it is to just have that connection with our internal selves as well as the external world. So I love the journey. You're one of those people that kept me realizing that I was on the right path by going through it, the whole program, being there on Wednesday nights. Your note taker, your Fathom note taker is there every Wednesday night. We don't know how to turn it off. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bring Henry up as well. Hey, Henry.
Hey, what's going on?
What'd you think?
Come on, man. I'm believe it you. I love the message, and I took so much from, I was taking notes from Pastor Donna, and really seeing how the thing that I picked up on her. And before I go into that first, I remember when you started out, when you came in there, because I didn't coach in this class. This was the one class I didn't coach. 1, 2, and 4 I did. And you came in initially with, the sales. You wanted to talk in sales, but dancing. You had a dancing class, and you wanted to market, and you wanted to get your story out there to market this dancing class. And I think this is good feedback for Anthony. And this is where we really found out, is with somebody like you, that the signature story is what's powerful in this group. Because that whole thing that you were talking about cancer, and you were talking about your truth. You were sharing it, but it wasn't working with that, or it works with that, but you found a better way, and you authentically rose to speak your truth of God and Jesus. And now you're out there altar calling people, to come and sharing God's good graces and how to spend time. And it's not like I'm feeling I'm being pulled by somebody trying to perform. I feel your heart, and I can tell that you're telling the truth. The second time, stage 3 cancer, and your initial thoughts are, this is a win-win. Like, come on now, like that's somebody that to me values time and knows that God, and has a great relationship with God, because they're intimate, and they know that, hey, anytime I'm given is a gift. And you definitely did that in the class. The time that you had in there, it was a gift, and you went so deep with the story that it inspired, I know, Anthony and myself to really pay attention to this even more in the transformation that you had. It's inspirational. And I can't wait to see in a year how many people are sharing the good news, of Jesus because of you. And I'm proud of you, because there's no nobler, mission than to be carrying on that word.
The gospel. I didn't know good news meant gospel till recently. Anyways, when you said the good news, I was like, I get his reference there. Great job, Donna. Any first off, is that I put DP Ivans, that's your Instagram. Is there any place, I know you do some stuff on YouTube, where would you want people to follow you if they can?
I know I know you was gonna ask that, and I have a YouTube page. I can't think of the name. I know it's Donna Sue. It might be My Mini Homestead. My Mini Homestead.
It's in your bio on here. Is it at Mini Homestead?
Yes. Yes.
All right, I'll go ahead and switch it to that. And that's your YouTube?
Yes.
Mini Homestead, God's Country. Excellent. All right, that's on there. If people want to follow you there.
Yes.
I forgot all about the dancing. So we haven't really talked about this recently. What's your plans? What do you want to do with this?
Yeah, it's crazy because like in the beginning, the first couple of classes, I was trying to gear it toward the dancing, being a better instructor for line dancing, and it wasn't flowing, and like every quote, it just wasn't working. But once you told me, share it connect it with your story, it just kind of made sense, and it just all jived. So I know now I really want to be more of a motivational speaker for people who are going through cancer or survivors. I think it's really important that people who are going through terminal situations, I know for myself, people who believe, who have faith, have a much better outcome, much better quality of life than those who don't. And I truly, without a shadow of a doubt, I know it's God himself, that he gives us everything we need. And with him, we have the strength to do all things. Without him, we're the devil's playground. He gets in our head, he makes us doubt, and it's his playground instead of God's glory.
Well said. Well, that was good. There you go. Turn that down. Anyways, Henry, do you have any other questions for Donna, or should we let her go?
No questions for Donna. You answered the questions of what she's doing next, and yeah, that's about it. I'm just curious, as to where can people find you sharing the good message. I know you said YouTube, but do you just pop in and do these messages on Facebook or anything like that?
I actually share a message on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
So I'm right now doing a daily devotional, and I think even through the mini homestead, if you think about how much God touches your life every single day, I'm going to use every daily life experience to introduce him and how much we're a hot mess, but he can change that.
I love it. I'm going to ask one more question from you. My final question is, because of the process that we took to get to this point, what would you say about actually people considering taking the full 8-week class, or of course speaking boot camp, which is the consolidated version of it, without a lot of the one-on-one, but still the full meat and potatoes of the course? What would you suggest, and what have you learned from the class that you would tell other people?
What I would tell other people is stop doubting yourself, invest in yourself, take the class and learn how to share your story. You can't do it on your own when you're here, but when you have the right guidance, like yourself, Anthony, someone who gives you honest feedback, it's just so valuable that it's worth taking the class. I would almost love to take it twice. Truly.
Well, fun fact for the boot camp, anybody that has taken the class already you'll actually get it very, 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 very cheap, because we want to make sure we have some people in it that know things. So we'll talk about that. We'll send that to you as well. It'll be something that you won't bat an eye at. So you'll make sure we'll clear out your schedule, clear out that Saturday. Yeah. No biker rallies that day, Donna. But yeah, we'll send out an email shortly with your discount code for all the people in the first three and including 4 groups if you want to take that class. So thank you for those kind words. I appreciate that.
Very valuable. Very valuable.
You are awesome. Our friendship is very valuable, and I thank you for that. Don, I'm going to pull you off. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Have a lovely evening. All right, Henry, let's wrap it up. Final words, my friend. That was great. I kind of like when not everybody can make the final. They run on a little bit. We also told them MJ had the lead spot, so she got to do 15 minutes. But I was like, you guys, we got 3. You guys do what you got to do. We got 192 people watching. So again, thank you to Waz and Casey that helped me out with that. I also just learned on X that if you pin the post to your profile, to your page, it will, anytime anybody that is following you opens up their Twitter or their X, it will actually show up. That's what he told me. So you'll get more people. So we had almost 200 people watching, which is great. Do you have any final words for people, Henry?
Yeah. What would it feel like?
Well, that's all we got time for, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just kidding.
What would it look? What would your experience be like to look in this camera in front of you and know who you are and not have to check a script over here or have to look at a teleprompter over there, but just to show up confidently, like Donna and Andrew and MJ in 8 weeks, you can do it too. And that's like we found out, like Donna said, the most important thing, a lot of them said that, was having somebody with you. We understand you're a superstar speaker. We understand that, that you have a great, powerful voice and a destiny and a soul that only God knows all the glory that's inside of you. But if you don't have a team by your side, vis-a-vis Anthony and me, Henry, out there that really focus on your story and experience when you're presenting, it makes it a whole lot easier to have somebody to help you accountable and leading you through the process like us right here. And you're in safe hands because we want people showing up on their cameras, confident, winging it without a script, just sharing their identity and their truth. And I think it was great for the audience to be able to see that. And that really happened. So I was really, really awesome and blown away by that. The last thing that I'll say is this speaking boot camp that we got, the speaker certification. You can have the same results and start to speak confidently on camera and not have to get lost in your head, because like Donna said, if you're in your head, you're dead. You're thinking and your audience knows it. And if you want to show up strong like the speakers just did on camera, like me and Anthony, and we're not sitting here thinking about what we're going to say and we're solid in our identity, come and join with us. It is a solid bet. We groom believers, we groom business people, we groom performers, we help everybody. Because everybody has an authentic story that is based off some loving moment in their life that they got to turn around and show their power. And we want
clear, though, we're not groomers. We are grooming a skill set. Just to be I want to be very clear about that.
Yeah, there's no like kit or anything like that. We're not going to arrange your outfit or anything like that. That's not going to happen. We can refer you to somebody for that. But the most important thing is that also anybody that's here that is thinking about the speaker certification, there is an additional thing that we're going to add for anybody that joins on June 14th. We're going to have an opportunity to speak on stage with the stage provided for by Anthony Michael Russo himself. And it's going to be, the audience is going to be there for you. Just like today for our 3 speakers from our class, we reached 100 and 150 people on this today. Now, can you imagine yourself in 30 days in front of a stage, on 150 or more people? Because there's going to be more speakers, which means there's going to be a bigger audience, and you don't have to do any of the heavy lifting. You sign up for your speaker certification, and you get a stage provided by this man right here, by us at Double Down Speaking, and your message will have a signature story and an outlet to put it on in front of an audience that who knows what can happen. It only takes one person to hear your story to make a difference.
Hi, Bonnie. That's how it starts. So you can either just jump in you can go to speakingbootcamp.com for the free Friday night webinar. If you register now for the Saturday, I think that it comes with a VIP night and where we do Q&A leading into it the next day. Also, last but not least, I would just suggest to try something else out for free, which is going to our Wednesday night doubledownspeaking.com, Speaking with Intention, aka Toastmasters on steroids. It's fun. It's a fun group. It's still free every week. That will eventually change where it'll just be the first week that's free. But for now, it's free. So jump in, join the crew, join Donna's note taker that comes every week, even though Donna doesn't always come. But go ahead and join that. It's a good time. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I think it's time for dinner for me. So thank you, Kimberly. Thanks, Kim Bain, for the compliment. She was part of our group 2 class.
Thank you,
Which is, I think that's where I started to realize the power of this class. So that's what I got. Henry, final words?
Did we highlight everything? I mean, yeah, the speaking boot camp, there's a free webinar to sign up for Friday night. And if you get the speaker certification, immediately following that free webinar, we're going to have a 90-minute Q&A with Anthony and myself so that we can kind of give you as much as we can that one-on-one vibe and that direct feedback for your story as you get ready to come in for Saturday for the all-day speaker intensive. And there will be also an additional sales workshop by myself, Happy Life Henry, and show you guys how to, if you want to sell a product from the stage, or if you want to be able to have sales conversations, I'm going to show you 3 key points that can really help you in identifying your identity to really speak to your audience so that you can start to build your business and your message so you can have a bigger impact. And that's all included in everything. Not to mention we have the stage upsell. Anthony and myself have really jam-packed as much value as we possibly could to get somebody from being hidden in their room or in their basement to really stepping up onto the stage and really using their power, and then speaking about God or speaking about their story of how they were a stuntman or how they met the person that changed their life in a bar that put them on the right path. There's so many other ways and other stories that we want to hear out there. So please jump in. You're not going to regret it. And it's going to be a great experience. So
stories are truly what ties us all together. And I'm watching our back chat in the group. And that's right. Donna said, or MJ said that Donna didn't make her cry this time. During our final class, I will admit that I needed a second after Donna went. I don't know why it hit me so hard that time. I think I was fully focused. Like today, I'm doing multiple things and producing. But yes, Donna has the ability to make people cry. She didn't do it today, almost, but didn't do it today. So that's what we got. And I think that's it. I'm going to go ahead and bid you all a farewell. Please like this video, share this video, do all the things with this video. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Hasta luego, everybody, and God bless.
Peace.